Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our curious viewers, Master Mike. Thanks for the suggestion, Mike. You asked, why do we eat turkey on Thanksgiving? If you've ever stared at a giant frozen turkey the size of a small boulder and wondered, why this bird? Who decided this would be the official mascot of November? You're not alone. Today, we're carving into the surprising history behind America's favorite holiday feast. From colonial habits to literary influence to the strangely persistent cultural pressure to pretend turkey isn't dry. So, if you've ever questioned why a giant, flightless bird dominates an entire holiday, stick around as we uncover the story behind the Thanksgiving turkey. Right here on Explaining Everything. So first, let's time travel back to 1621. Picture it. The Pilgrims had survived a rough year. And by rough, I mean, please someone invent ibuprofen. They celebrated a successful harvest with a big feast. Sounds wholesome, right? Here's the twist. There is zero solid evidence they actually ate turkey. They had deer, seafood, and maybe some wild birds, but historians say turkey was basically the background NPC of the feast. It was there, somewhere, probably minding its business, but it wasn't the main event. So if the Pilgrims didn't crown turkey as king of Thanksgiving dinner, who did? Great question. Let's move on. Fast forward to colonial America. Turkeys were running everywhere, wild, plentiful, and probably unaware that they were about to become the national entree. Chickens were valuable for eggs, cows for milk, and pigs for bacon. But turkeys were like, hi, we're delicious, and we travel in flocks the size of small armies. Early Americans were all about convenience, and turkey was basically the Costco bulk item of the 1700s. It was big enough to feed a family, didn't lay useful eggs, couldn't plow anything, couldn't produce milk, and honestly, provided nothing to society except being tasty. So naturally, people cooked them. Basically, turkey won the Thanksgiving lottery by being large, common, and kind of useless. Here's where things get surprisingly literary. In the 1800s, a woman named Sarah Josepha Hale, who also wrote Mary Had a Little Lamb, campaigned for Thanksgiving to become a national holiday. And she loved turkey. Loved it so much that in her popular writings she kept pushing this idea of a perfect Thanksgiving feast. And guess what the centerpiece was? Yep, turkey. Her readers were like, wow, that sounds festive, and boom, turkey started becoming the star of the holiday. So, if you're ever elbow deep in a frozen turkey, wondering how your life got to this moment, just remember, blame the lady who wrote Mary Had a Little Lamb. In 1863, Abraham Lincoln made Thanksgiving an official national holiday. And since Hale had basically been running a century-long PR campaign for turkeys, the bird had already taken the spotlight. Lincoln didn't pick the turkey personally, but he did pet one once and decided to spare it. The OG presidential turkey pardon. Imagine being so influential that a president listens to you about holiday meals. Meanwhile, we can't even agree on pizza toppings. From that point onward, turkey wasn't just food. It became tradition. And once something becomes tradition, boom, you are stuck with it forever. Want to serve lasagna instead? Too late. You're already in too deep. Today, turkey is the Beyoncé of Thanksgiving. Everyone knows it. Everyone talks about it. Everyone pretends to enjoy it, even though half of us secretly think it's dry, unless it's drowning in gravy. We wake up at 5 a.m. to cook it. We argue about stuffing versus dressing. We carve it with the confidence of surgeons who did not go to med school. The turkey has become a cultural icon, a culinary mascot, and the centerpiece of millions of fights about how long you really have to defrost it. But why does it stay? Because turkey feels traditional, and humans love tradition. It brings families together, gives us something to look forward to, and reminds us that once a year, we willingly host a giant, flightless bird at the center of the table, like we're some kind of Renaissance royalty. So, why do we eat turkey on Thanksgiving? Not because the Pilgrims chose it, not because Lincoln demanded it, mostly because turkeys were convenient, a writer had a very persistent vibe, and America collectively said, yes, let's eat the biggest bird available. And now, hundreds of years later, here we are, still roasting, basting, deep frying, and occasionally burning them beyond recognition. All thanks to a mix of practicality, tradition, and a surprising amount of historical peer pressure. If you enjoyed this turkey-filled, laugh-packed adventure, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe for more brain-bending answers to everyday questions. And if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other bingeable channels. Thank you for tuning in and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about here on Explaining Everything.